Creepy Creepypastas.
Bloodshot Eyes.
Today, we're going to be going over the top 10 cartoon creepypastas. And for anyone who doesn't know what a creepypasta is, we aren't going to be talking about a haunted plate of spaghetti. Creepypastas are basically popular internet legends about movies, video games, and other types of media. They often get really dark, so there's your content warning for this video. And most of these creepypastas are fake, but if you stick to the end, the last few on this list have actually become a real thing in one way or another. Okay, so without any further delay, the top 10. Number 10, Doug's Real Life. I've never seen Doug, but I mainly put this creepypasta on the list because I know many people say it's a very boring show, but this creepypasta manages to tell an actually interesting story about Doug. This is a supposed lost episode of the series. The episode begins with an odd version of the theme song, but without any of the characters. And after the theme song, we see Doug sitting in a dark room, writing in his notepad, not narrating or saying anything. Later in the episode, he comes back home from school, and his home is completely empty. There's no one there. He sits at the dinner table, all by himself. But the episode keeps cutting, showing us what seems like his perspective, as he is imagining his family being home with him, when really there was absolutely no one there. And a teacher calls to inform his parents about him failing a test. Then Doug has a hallucination of his parents yelling at him. The episode ends with Doug writing in his notepad saying, "I can't tell which one is real." You know what this creepypasta reminds me of? Spoilers if you haven't seen it, but you know how in the Joker movie, Arthur has a girlfriend, but then it gets revealed that they don't even know each other, and all of the previous moments in the movie with them together were just hallucinations, and in fact, at the end of the movie, we don't even know if any of the movie was actually real, or if the entire movie was just out in his very delusional head. Man, that's a good movie. Number 9, Max and Ruby 0004. Did you ever think someone would be able to make a dark story about such an innocent little kids cartoon like Max and Ruby? Well, someone did. This creepypasta centers around someone trying to find a Christmas present to give their little cousin who likes Peppa Pig and Max and Ruby. While trying to find a DVD online, they got a mysterious package in the mail. It was a Max and Ruby DVD, but the cover of it was odd. It just had a bad looking drawing of the characters on it. And the episodes list on the back of the case just said episode 0001, episode 0002, episode 0003, and episode 0004. When they put the DVD on the TV to give it a watch, everything on the disc was good. It seems like a very high quality DVD of actual Max and Ruby episodes. So they gave it to their cousin as a present. And one day in the future, they were babysitting their cousin and decided it would be a good time to pop the DVD in for their cousin because they hadn't gotten a chance to see it yet. As the author of the creepypasta was in the other room, their cousin screamed, and so they quickly came to see why she was upset, and this image was on the TV. Number 8, Akuryō Bubbles. This creepy spaghetti is about a single dad who bought a Powerpuff Girls DVD as a present for his daughter who loves PPG, but he wanted to make sure the DVD was good enough before giving it to her, so he decided to watch it by himself at night while she had gone to bed. The DVD cover was a bit odd, but even more odd was the disc for it, which had an 18 age rating on it. The DVD had 2 episodes on it. When he started watching them, strange stuff began happening. The second episode, which was the first one he watched, had the professor sitting alone in the dark, and then a door began to creak open. And right before that happened in the episode, the door at the father's house did the same thing in the living room. Almost as if what was happening on the TV had something supernatural about it, letting it bleed its way into reality. At least, you know, in the creepypasta. And the first episode is about Bubbles literally dying. The person who sold the DVD to him on eBay described it by saying, "There's just nothing like it." And that turned out to be 100% accurate. I honestly think the Doug one was written better, but I put this creepypasta at number 8 because of how out there it is. Number 7, The Grieving. This one is also pretty out there. Apparently, the person who this creepypasta was written by was just watching TV one day, when late at night an announcement came on saying that a special episode of The Amazing World of Gumball was about to come on. Now, The Amazing World of Gumball was an animated family sitcom type show that aired on Cartoon Network. It did get kinda dark sometimes, but it still never got too inappropriate for children. But in this lost episode, known as The Grieving, saying it got inappropriate for children would be an understatement. It's about Gumball and Darwin dying, and then all the characters who were close to them start, well, grieving them. What makes this creepypasta even crazier is that when all of this insane, disturbing stuff was happening on the TV, the author of the creepypasta tried turning the TV off, but it wouldn't shut off. Number 6, Tom's Basement. Tom and Jerry has had quite a bit of different variants and directors over the years. One of those directors was a man named Gene Deitch, I probably mispronounced that, but who was put behind 13 Tom and Jerry shorts. But a lot of people didn't like them because it was believed they were too violent and too different from what is typically expected from Tom and Jerry. Some people, apparently, believe this was because he had some type of spite for Tom and Jerry and was secretly trying to ruin the brand. Oh, something like that. And according to this creepypasta, he was actually signed up to make more than 13 Tom and Jerry shorts, which became a contract he wanted to get out of. So he created the most messed up Tom and Jerry shirt he possibly could have, where Tom's owner is being extremely mean to him one day. So mean that Jerry, of all characters, feels bad for Tom. So he kills Tom's owner and they hide the body in their basement. But that's not it for the story, because why would it be? Jerry also does the same thing to Tom. Number 5, SuicideMouse.avi. When I think of creepypastas, this is one of the first ones that come to mind. Yes, the mascot of one of the biggest companies in the entertainment industry has his own creepypasta, and it's pretty disturbing. The story goes, Leonard Mountain, a film historian who was behind the production of official DVD releases containing classic Mickey Mouse tunes, was working on one of the DVDs when he found a very strange tape. He decided to give it a watch, and it was an old Mickey Mouse tune, showing just a loop of Mickey rocking in a city, and there wasn't any happy music in the background or anything you would expect. This continued for 2 to 3 minutes, and then the film fades to black as if it's over, and it stays like that for a few minutes, and then the film comes back, and Mickey is still walking, but now some type of cry can be heard in the background, getting louder and louder. And throughout the next minute, the visuals got really odd, as Mickey went from kinda looking like he's frowning to having a big psychotic looking smile on his face, and the sidewalk began twisting all around in different directions. And by the 7-minute mark, the city buildings in the background became completely destroyed buildings, and the cry in the background became a blood-curdling scream. The film historian had to leave the room because of how creeped out it made him, and he had an employee finish watching it to tell him what else happens. But when it ended, the employee came out of the room looking pale and saying over and over again that real suffering is not known. The employee then took a gun from a security guard and shot himself with it. The final frame of the tune said, "The sights of hell bring its viewers back in." Number 4. Candle Cove. Not to be confused with Crystal Cove, the town in Scooby-Doo. I put this creepypasta high on the list because this one ain't just about a lost episode. It's about an entire series. Apparently, Candle Cove is the name of a stop-motion series that aired on TV in the 1970s that many people remember watching when they were kids, but there was no evidence online that it ever even existed. It was a show that was made for kids, but got pretty dark in every episode, kinda like another show we'll be talking about in this video. It was about a little kid imagining that she's going on adventures with pirates on a pirate ship that had a giant mouth on it. One of the episodes was about all of the characters just going around screaming for the entire episode. The main antagonist in the series was a character named the Skin Taker, who was a skeleton that had a thing for grinding the skin off of children. And a very odd thing about this series is that it seems only kids were able to see it. And while their kids were watching Candle Cove, the only thing parents were able to see on the TV was complete static. Obviously, this creepypasta is made up. It is pretty crazy though. Number 3. Red Mist. If you've been on the internet, you've probably seen this image at least once, even if you don't remember it. A few years ago, it became a big meme. This picture with "Don't ask who Joe is" edited on top of it. A reference to the joke that goes, "Who's Joe? Joe Mama." But this image has been around much longer than the meme. It originated from a SpongeBob creepypasta, Red Mist, aka Squidward's suicide. I bet you can guess what happens in it. The episode is about Squidward performing at a concert, but then everyone in the crowd begins booing him. Squidward gets back home and is very sad. He's got bloodshot eyes. Then he picks up a gun and self-deletes. The story of Red Mist was shared on the internet back in 2010 by someone who supposedly had an unpaid internship at Nickelodeon. Apparently, this disturbing episode was going to air as the season 4 premiere, until Steven Hillenburg and other people at Nickelodeon discovered what was in the episode. They were shocked and mad. They made sure that the episode didn't air on TV, and they tried to find out who even made it to begin with, because it must have been made by someone who secretly hated working at Nickelodeon or something. Now here's the thing. Obviously, this episode isn't real, and the story about it is completely made up. However, it did kinda make its way into the actual series. Back in 2019, a season 12 episode of SpongeBob titled SpongeBob in Randomland premiered on TV, and I kid you not, when it aired, there was a cameo of basically Squidward with bloodshot eyes as a reference to the creepypasta. And ironically, in following airings of the episode after it came out, the scene got censored and replaced with a different visual gag, therefore technically making Red Mist something that was actually in SpongeBob and was actually censored. Man. Number 2, the Clockman. In 2012, someone going by Commando Santa posted a thread on Bungie.net about an animation that once aired on TV. I am looking for a particular animated short that terrified me as a kid. I've been looking on and off for it for nearly 4 years. Maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe nobody should ever find it. But if someone can, it's The Flood. This short animation was terrifying as a child. The scene is still burned in my mind 28 years later. It's of a young boy sleeping in his bed. Above his bed is a ticking clock. All the lights in the room are off, and it is very dark. Suddenly, the clock begins to slow down its ticking, and eventually it stops on midnight. When the clock stops, a greenish-bluish man climbs out of the clock. The boy wakes up just in time to see this man dressed in black grab him out of bed and kidnap him by carrying him through a window. The Clockman takes the boy on some kind of terrifying adventure and brings him back to his bed before sunrise. I remember feeling great terror whilst watching it. The Clockman abducted the little boy and took him to places he did not want to go. I can't remember where exactly, but I seem to remember the boy repeatedly asking to go home. Clockman just ignored him like he couldn't hear him. He kept dragging the boy through all kinds of scary places. I remember being scared for the boy and just wishing that Clockman would take him home. At first, many people didn't even believe him and thought he was just making stuff up. But after a little while, others began coming out with what they remember about the animation too, and it became a huge hunt for a scary animation many people believed actually existed. After 5 years, the animation actually got found because it was uploaded on YouTube. It was a 7-minute long animation counting the credits that aired a long time ago on Nickelodeon. The animation was named About Dressy Sally. There were quite a bit of differences between how people remembered the animation and what is actually in it, such as the child in the animation being a girl, not a boy. But after watching it, I can definitely see why many people remember it being a scary viewing experience when they were kids. The animation and art style in it has a pretty unsettling vibe. And as an honorable mention, I put something about a video game, which doesn't really count as an actual cartoon creepypasta, but it is animated, and I just had to include it. Minecraft Herobrine. In August of 2010, someone posted a Minecraft screenshot on 4chan. The picture shows a mysterious figure standing in a bunch of fog in the distance. Although the image isn't of the highest quality, you can make it out to be a figure that looks like the main character of the game, Steve, but with completely blank white eyes. Apparently, the person who posted this picture was just minding their own business in a single-player map, so there shouldn't have been anyone else in the game. This figure has been given the title Herobrine. Some say he is a glitch in the game. Others believe he is the ghost of the creator of Minecraft, Notch's dead brother. Other people began supposedly finding him in the game too, and it became a massive hunt in the Minecraft community. Signs Herobrine might be in your game include finding long 2x2 tunnels and mountains, pyramids often made out of sand, and finding trees without leaves. People even began trying to spawn Herobrine into their maps by building big structures to summon him. Notch also even addressed Herobrine multiple times on Twitter. In August 2010, saying, "It's not real, but it might be soon." But then in May 2012, saying, "Getting loads of tweets and emails about Herobrine again. I don't have a dead brother, and he was never in the game. Not real, never was." Despite now being debunked by Notch, Herobrine was still a huge topic of discussion in the Minecraft community, and Mojang even started playing into it by hiding Herobrine in official promotional material for the game, and having each Minecraft update say, "Removed Herobrine." Herobrine has gone down as one of the biggest creepypastas there has ever been, and I was a huge fan of Minecraft when I was a kid, so I guess I just wanted to have an excuse to talk about it in a video. Now at number 1, Bloody Goat. I swear if I get comments about how I pronounce that name. Anyways, Invader Zim was an awesome series that aired for 2 seasons on Nickelodeon. It isn't surprising that it only lasted a couple seasons because of how dark the series got, but that's kind of why it was awesome. It was different from everything else on TV, and it was also often censored by Nick. And why am I saying this? Well, censorship is kind of an important piece to this final creepypasta. The story goes, one of the crew members behind Invader Zim one day drew a picture of one of the main characters in the show, a robot named G-I-O, covered in blood, and they knew Nickelodeon would never approve of such an image, so they never put the image up for approval. Instead, they secretly hid pictures of the character covered in blood in episodes of Invader Zim. This became known as
Bloody Girl.
Again, that's G-I... You know what I mean. Although it sounds like something that would never happen, this is actually actually true. There are actually pictures of Bloody Go hidden in multiple episodes, but you have to pause on the exact frame to see it, and some of these appearances of the image can be pretty challenging to see. The most obvious one is in Season 2, Episode 1 in the opening sequence. You can also see it in Bad Bad Rubble Piggy, though this one isn't as easy. Apparently, there's at least one hidden appearance of Bloody Go in each of the last 14 episodes of the series, so if you didn't already have a reason to go back to the series that is Invader Zim, now you do. Okay guys, that was the top 10 cartoon creepypastas. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Cartoon Post out.